Welcome to The Explainer. There's a communication technique out there that's so powerful it can literally stop you in your tracks. It makes you click, it makes you watch, and you probably see it a dozen times a day without even realizing it. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this impossible situation hook and really figure out what makes it tick.
So let's just dive right in with a perfect example, one that absolutely blew up online. When it feels impossible, watch God move. It's super direct, it's packed with emotion, and as we're about to see, it was incredibly effective.
So the big question is, why? Why did this work so well? What's going on psychologically here? And just to be super clear, this explainer isn't about theology. It's about the bedrock principles of communication. The universal triggers that make all of us stop, click, and feel like we just have to share something. Okay, to really get how this works, we need to start with the most important piece of the puzzle. It's something I like to call the high stakes principle. The secret here is actually pretty simple, but it's also really profound. When the stakes are high, our attention just naturally follows. It's almost like a survival instinct, right? Our brains are hardwired to zoom in on anything that involves big risks, deep struggles, or the promise of a life-changing reward. We just can't look away. So when I say high stakes, what are we really talking about? Well, we're not talking about business goals or project deadlines. Nope. We're talking about the raw, universal human stuff. The things that keep us all up at night. Our deepest fears, our private struggles, and that desperate, burning need for just a little bit of hope. Tapping into that? Well, that's the key. Okay, so how does a title like the one we saw actually create those high stakes? It's not just a random bunch of emotional words thrown together. There's a really deliberate, almost architectural, two-part structure holding it all up. And this brings us right to the heart of it all, the impossible situation hook. The formula is beautifully simple, but wow, is it potent. You start with a huge, totally relatable problem, and then you immediately pivot to an equally huge, hopeful promise. Let's just break our example down using this structure. See that first half, when it feels impossible? That is pure validation. It speaks directly to anyone out there who feels overwhelmed, like everything is falling apart. It basically says, hey, I see you. But then, before that feeling of despair can even set in, boom, the second half counters with this powerful promise of hope. Watch God move. It's a perfect 1-2 punch of empathy and hope. And that leads us to the most crucial part of this whole thing, the emotional payoff. This is really where the magic happens. This is what makes a hook like this connect so deeply with people. It's a fundamental rule of human connection. Before you can even think about offering a solution, you absolutely have to acknowledge the struggle. Starting with the impossible situation does exactly that. It's a shortcut to empathy. It's like saying, I get it, I see you. And that feeling of being understood, man, that is incredibly powerful. But here's the key. The hook never leaves you stuck in that struggle. It pivots, and it pivots hard, to this compelling vision of hope. The source material for this actually puts it beautifully. Quote, God's goodness is chasing you down. I mean, just listen to how active that language is. This isn't just a passive, oh, I hope things get better. No way. This is the promise of a relentless, powerful force for good that is actively coming for you. So here's the main takeaway. The real magic is in the tension. That huge gap between feeling like something's impossible and the promise of a breakthrough. That creates a story that our brains are just desperate to see finished. We feel like we have to click just to find out how we get from point A to point B. All right, let's boil all of this down into a simple, practical formula. This is the part you can actually use, whether you're writing an email, putting together a presentation, or honestly just trying to tell a more compelling story in your daily life. It's really just a simple 3-step process. First, you've got to really identify the real, high-stakes problem your audience is facing. What's their actual pain point? Second, you have to articulate that problem with genuine empathy so they feel seen. And then finally, you offer the promise, that compelling vision of the solution that's waiting for them. And here's the cool part. Once you see this formula, you will start seeing it absolutely everywhere. Seriously, think about a fitness ad. The impossible situation? Tired of feeling exhausted and sluggish? The breakthrough promise? Get boundless energy in just 30 days. See? It's the exact same psychological engine driving the whole thing. So, that's it. That's the impossible situation hook. Ultimately, it's such a powerful tool because it's built on two of the most human things there are, empathy and hope. It forces you to get crystal clear on the real challenges people are up against and the genuine transformation you can offer them. So the question I'll leave you with is this. What's the impossible situation you can help solve? Thanks for digging into this with me on The Explainer.